Alright, hello again. This is Rik Deihs, and hopefully you've seen some of the other videos, but once again, I am a superintendent of the Hamburg Club of North America, and also an APA and ABA member. So anyhow, I did a short video about the cages out in my garden. That was housing tips. This is kind of the same kind of thing, just giving you more of a tour also of some of my other housing, and maybe that'll give you some ideas of your own for your guys' next project, or maybe you're going to use this downtime to build your next project, and this might help you out. Maybe it'll be redundant for some of you, and maybe you just like seeing my pretty birds. So anyhow, and these are Hamburg Bantams, by the way. Silver spangled and gold spangled are out in the pins. So anyhow, all right, I'll kind of show you here. You can kind of see I recently tilled these pins. That's something that I definitely try and spread the word on. If you're not doing already, I suggest in the springtime or sometime during the year, I prefer the spring, to till up these outside pins if they're enclosed pins. This not only helps with the smell, but it also helps promote good health and allows them to get different nutrients and stuff from the ground instead of just walking in soil. Oh, excuse me. So anyhow, yeah. So we got that, and I'm going to show you, this was actually my first pin here that I built, and you can see there the door. I built things more the way I thought they should be. Building a door like this is actually not recommended. I've learned that this more just creates a perch for them and a nice catch in the hinge for their droppings, and you can kind of see there the collection of droppings on the door. So anyhow, and then we'll come over here, and you see this door here. Now, and later on the add-ons I did a proper job, but you see here how it overlaps and how the latch is up top. This is obviously a flaw, which I had to put a piece of wire down on the bottom to keep the bottom of the door from being pulled out too far. And obviously, I mean, I could fix this, but pulling 4x from the ground that you buried 7 inches deep isn't always something that you look forward to doing. So we've kind of made do. So like I said, this was the first pin that I built. I like to use natural wood. I just cut out of the woods by my house here for perch bars for in my pins. The bark and stuff gives them something to scratch on too. So you see there I got like kind of an automatic feeder I made up. That's just 2-inch PVC pipe. If you're doing large fowl, I would recommend using 3-inch PVC pipe. And I just got the water dish, which, keeping those elevated is definitely recommended. Helps keep the dirt and stuff out of it. So you see there they can get at just fine. I put mine up on cinder blocks. So then you can see here, this is one of the additions. Now you can see the door opens a different way, which also makes it better for sealing up. And we'll actually go in here, I'll show you. But you can see there too, I'm actually properly inserted the door into the door frame and put the latch up here in the middle, which keeps it a nice sturdy door. So go in here, I'll give you kind of a layout. Well, this was initially one giant pin that I built, and then I separated it off with just thinner gauge wire. On the outside I used chain link, and that chain link is almost predator proof beyond something that can squeeze through, but in my area I don't have much issue with weasels and things like that. So I did bury it 7 inches down all the way around, so that prevents anything from digging up. I have had things trying to dig in, steal the feed, or get at the birds, and nothing has been successful, and but going on 6 years or more now. So anyhow, you see here, same thing with the water, up on cinder block, which still, you can see, doesn't keep it spotless. But then the door, I just got one of those spring hooks on there like I did on my lean-to garden. Which really, if a raccoon, he could still manage that, but why make it easy on him, I guess. And I made the opening a lot smaller. I mean, obviously I learned with the Bantams, it doesn't need to be a large opening for them to squeeze through. And you can see over there, it's about twice that size. And he wants to say hello. A tiny little guy. Anyhow, alright, I'm going to come over here. This is one of the interior doors. And you see, as I talked about, filling in all your gaps. Making sure all these gaps are filled off. Otherwise, birds will squeeze through here and be able to get at each other. And, I mean, obviously, worst case scenario, males are getting at each other. But also, when you're breeding, you need to make sure you're keeping all your females separated so you know who's been with what male and all that good stuff. So anyhow, you see here, this was actually one larger pen, and I decided I needed more room, so I just kind of put in a floating door and with some wire there, which it's not the fanciest there, but we made it work. And I attached a smaller coop, which I just keep 2 to 3 birds in here at a time. This is actually an older male who's still holding fertility. He's about 2.5 years old in a molt right now. Getting nice and fat. I put him in retirement after about 1.5 years. I won't show birds anymore. So I put him in retirement. They either get to be sold to be a breeder, or I keep him as a breeder myself and give him constant supply of food and let him fatten up. But anyhow, that doesn't really have much to do with housing now, does it? So anyhow, so like I said, there's a little coop. It suffices. In here, there's actually no perch or anything, and I'll also show you the inside of one of these larger coops that I've built. So this is just more or less a little mini dog house, or almost like a house you'd be able to put a couple cats in or something. There's nothing fancy about it. And I will not keep birds in here in the winter time because there's no insulation. There's nothing to stop the breeze from coming in there and the seals. And it's a nice little summer retreat. So anyhow. Oh, Scar's talking to you. He gets to hang out here with the ladies and get nice and fat. Yeah. What's up, buddy? We're talking about you. Yeah. Say he knows it. So anyway, I'm trying to latch this door here, so that's why we're staring at him. Anyhow, alright, so we'll come around here and I'll kind of show you this coop real quick, and then I'll try and get off of here. So I don't want to make any of these too terribly long. Like I said, nothing fancy about them. Just figure I'll make a couple nice little videos, show you guys around, maybe learn something new, or maybe something you forgot, or just get a couple good ideas. So anyhow, you see back here, we got, essentially I built dog houses, and with a small door in front, as I showed you, and I shingled the roofs. And here I just got aluminum, or tin rather, dryer vents, and used a jigsaw to cut a circular hole in there, and got myself a nice little vent there. Cheap and effective, and just run a bead of caulk around there, and as you can see, plenty of paint to help seal it up. Went a little crazy there on the paint. So anyhow, down here we got just a bolt lock, which any predator like a raccoon could easily get in there, and they'll be glad that that's all you had. But raccoons can't pick padlocks. Now this was unlocked just for this video. I didn't want to have to fumble with the keys. But anyhow, you see in here, that provides a nice little seal there for the door. Keeps any breeze and stuff out. Because in the winter time, that's another nice thing about these, is during the winter time, you can put a cap on the inside, and I'll see if we can kind of see there. There you go, yeah. So, and I can just cap that off in the winter time, so they're not getting all that extra cold air. Because here in the roof seams, I never sealed that up. I left that open to allow a little bit of airflow through here, because you need the airflow. But you don't want a chill Now you can see it is dirty in here. That's something I recommend, is not over cleaning. Obviously you want to keep a clean house. You can see here this bedding's pretty clean. Cleaner than my thumbnail apparently. Excuse me. So anyhow, you can see here I got nesting boxes. Now, originally on my first coop that I built, I did not put a top on these. That was a major mistake, because the birds loved perching on the wall and dropping bombs, I guess you could say, on the next bird. So anyhow, see there's their little access door. And but up here we got a nice little loft area, and with a little perch for them to rest their feet. And this also makes it nice for cleaning messes, because most of them will sleep up here and drop their droppings right there. And you can just easily scoop them up and take them out daily to make sure you keep it clean. The main thing is getting the wet stuff out. So, so you see there, you got plenty of headroom and all that. Now, something like this, I will keep anywhere from 4 to 7 birds in here. But once again, obviously you don't want to crowd it up. If you're needing to clean it out from smell and solid waste more than once a week of something this size, odds are you probably have a few too many in there. That's more or less how I gauge that and along with just visibly crowded. Like for instance here, this coop is actually quite a bit smaller. But my golds are so tiny that I decided to put them in here because they need less space. Once again, as I mentioned on the other video, different breeds are going to require different types of spacing. So here you can see the vent once again, which I include that in all of these. Same type of door, really. This one's about the same as the other, it's just a more miniature version of it. And you can see a little bit of a separation there in the perch. But, you know, and then we got 3 nesting boxes instead of 4, which they're actually oversized for bantams, but why not? But it also gives them plenty of room to jump and work those wings, which I said is always important. The more you can keep them working their wings, the better. And that's any, you know, whether they're in cages, pens, anything like that. Oh, she's trying to escape. Oh, she wants some clovers. Hold on, let's get her some clovers. There you go, girls. Oh, and gentlemen, sorry. Oh, and they left me an egg. Oh, I'm gonna have to come back and get that. Yeah. So, that's about that for that. I'm sorry. Let's go ahead and we'll go over here, and I'll show you this first one here and what I meant more. I built them how I thought they should be. Let's open that door up. Now, you see here, it's about the same. A lot more space, actually. This one was quite a bit larger. But, oh, awesome. More eggs. Hey, finally starting to pick back up, huh, guys? So anyhow, you see here, they don't need this. I put that there as like a step, a walk up to the nesting boxes. Obviously, these birds can jump. I mean, they have wings. But these were things that I added in that were not necessary, and I learned after having the birds. I actually built this coop before I owned any birds, preparing to own birds. So anyhow, you come in here, you see I actually used to have a small perch bar. I think the thing was a 1/4 of an inch dowel rod I had in there, which, as I explained, for a perch, you want ideally a 1-inch diameter, so that way their whole foot can't wrap completely around it. So anyhow, so that was too small, and I learned that, and it also just took up space. So I took that out completely and gave them more free space in here, because during the extreme winter months, or winter cold rather, not months, but days, I will actually just keep them in here. The birds that are out here in the that stay out in the pens all winter. But once again, you see the large nesting boxes, giving them plenty of room, a nice loft area, perch area, and leaving these little gaps also makes it way easier for cleaning. Can I step back? It's actually not that big. It looks bigger here, but I can put a bucket right in front of here and just wipe all of this stuff down into the bucket. So I'd recommend that, actually. That was, but like I said, all this loft area you can see was actually an add-on later. And they were actually just sitting up on that wall there. And so anyhow, so yeah, I guess that's about it. I droned on probably long enough here. Well, I guess thanks for letting me show off my stuff. That's so anyhow, I guess go ahead and check out some of the other videos, and hoping to maybe get a little more breed specific on Hamburgs for you guys on a later video. Alrighty, well, once again, hope everybody's doing okay, and take care, and we'll talk to you later. Alrighty, bye bye.